This is Newcap News with Lauren Pullen.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. RCMP are investigating a drive-by shooting in the border city over the weekend. Shots were fired, hitting a parked car and home along this street early Sunday morning.
The investigation has led us to ascertain this was a targeted shooting. This wasn't a random drive-by, as may have been heard about or the rumors are circulating.
Corporal Walker says the house was the intended target, but who the gunman wanted to send a message to is unclear due to the transient nature of the city.
That's an angle that we are exploring. Without a doubt, in many parts of any city or community where there's a lot of industry and a lot of people moving in and out, tragically, some residences are targeted.
With that said, police do have suspects.
We have evidence. We have witnesses. We have suspects and subjects of interest who we wish to speak to.
At this time, it's unclear whether or not the incident is drug-related or if there is any connection to other shootings earlier this year. Police now have new evidence in a double RCMP shooting in Killam back in early February. RCMP have seized a semi-automatic rifle registered to Sawyer Clark Robinson, who is accused of shooting the Mounties. Robinson is now facing additional firearms charges. Police believe the accused had this weapon when he fled the crime scene. Robinson appeared in court yesterday for a bail hearing, but the decision was pushed back until his next court appearance, which is April 11th. Well, it's a stat that may disturb you. Saskatchewan has the highest rate of HIV and AIDS in the entire country by a long shot, doubling the national average. According to the Ministry of Health, the province sees around 200 new cases annually, significantly higher than previous reports. And the jump is believed to be fueled mostly by intravenous drug use.
If you are using intravenous drugs, it's time to quit.
Quitting isn't easy, so if you are an intravenous drug user, you're urged to visit your local rehab clinic or local needle exchange.
You have to be safe with your needles, and you shouldn't share needles. Hopefully you can get a supply of clean needles for yourself. But prevention is better than cure, so the most important thing is go to a rehab facility and try and get off the drugs.
And getting tested regularly is encouraged if you are considered to be at high risk.
Those who are involved in a high-risk behavior should get tested. Those who have multiple partners and those who are using intravenous drugs should be tested.
Research on HIV patients in Saskatchewan has shown that there may be a unique strain that shows a more aggressive virus, resulting in a higher mortality rate. The Ministry of Health partnered with the provincial HIV leadership team more aggressively, testing for answers and, of course, trying to find a cure. Spring has just started, but already people are gearing up for summer. For some, that means starting on their summer tan now by hitting a tanning bed. But as Mike Baden explains, bronzing your skin this way could have some serious side effects.
A new study suggests that there has been a dramatic spike in skin cancer rates among young adults in the U.S. over the past 4 decades, and tanning beds are to blame. But there are also other issues.
When you start early, your body is still not fully grown up, and so the cells can change faster. And so some people who've been tanning for 20-30 years seem to get skin cancer, melanoma in their 40s.
They found that incidents of melanoma have risen 8-fold among women and 4-fold among men in that age group. And Dr. Sayeed says people just need to use their heads.
Again, common sense, everything in moderation. Don't overdo it. It's good to get some sun because there's a vitamin D from the sun, especially us in northern climates. But don't push it.
In 2011, Nova Scotia became the first province to ban anyone under the age of 19 from tanning beds. And last month, BC announced a plan to introduce legislation to ban anyone under 18. And here in the border city, they have their own restrictions.
Or we have a team tan plan. If you're under 18, your parents have to sign for you the first off before we even put you into bed. If you're under 16, they have to accompany you to the studio every time you come. If you're over 16, obviously you can drive, so we'll let you come in after your parents have signed this plan. But if you're under 12, we will not tan you.
If I had one piece of advice for you, don't start the tanning bed. I know you want a healthy glow, but it's going to double my chances of getting melanoma.
Last year, this video was released called 16-Year-Old Me to warn people about the risks of sunburns and tanning. But this and other studies haven't seemed to stop people from entering the beds.
I mean, excessive tanning, because especially those of us who live up north don't get enough sun, and so we go and hungry for the sun, and we overdo it. And so definitely tanning beds are not the only cause of skin cancer.
Some signs to look for include moles with irregular borders, jagged edges, more than one color, and more than 6 millimeters in diameter. And now that the sun is out, to make sure that you wear a sunscreen with an SPF rating of 15 or higher. Mike Baden, Newcap News.
Gerard joins us now with our first look at weather, and not the scorching temperatures we saw yesterday, but still a pretty decent day.
It's a lovely day outside, a bit gusty at times, and maybe for some folks that the allergies kicking up and stuff. I know a couple people already have the flu and stuff going on, so we need to watch that, keep our fluids going. Having said that, let's have a look here, alrighty? 13 is where we're sitting pretty at. We've seen a buildup of clouds during the course of the afternoon so far. Those clouds don't seem to be holding anything precipitous, and 35% is the humidity. The wind's gusting at times out of the northeast, and at the moment it's eased off down to 17. It's a similar story across the region. Those clouds in Cold Lake and area will move around as the evening goes along. 18 in the Battlefords, very nice indeed. We'll chat a bit more about what's happening for the Easter weekend a little later in the cast.
Coming up, survivors speak at Truth and Reconciliation hearings in Onion Lake. That story after the break.